Hello, friends, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking about your COVID stimulus checks, what you were promised, and what we're being told now. But before we get started, go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It'll help us grow. And please go to notcensoredyet.com/donate. You'll find links available where you can help contribute to the show. It'll allow us to provide more consistent quality content outside influence or independent from outside influence. So let's begin. This article is from January 5th, Kate Duffy, Business Insider. Biden tells Georgia voters that $2,000 stimulus checks will never arrive if Republicans win Senate runoffs. President-elect Joe Biden said Monday that Americans would receive $2,000 in coronavirus relief payments immediately if Georgia voted for both Democrats in the U.S. Senate runoffs. And to me, that sounds like a bribe. I would love to see some inquisitive NGO possibly press a campaign election lawsuit to basically see if that would be considered bribery. Because imagine if a political candidate were to say, hey, vote for me and I will pay you $2,000. I'll ensure that the first thing I do is to make sure you get paid. Imagine if a political candidate said that to a company who's donating to their political campaign. Hey, friend, if you were to donate a couple $100,000 to my super PAC, I will make sure you get those tax breaks. You know how fast somebody would get in trouble? Do you know how fast heads would roll? But I'm sure that goes on daily in the Senate. But this was obviously so public. You were told, these Georgians were told, if you don't vote for us, we won't pay you $2,000. You have to vote for us to receive that money. If you don't vote for us, if we don't win, you won't get $2,000. And I feel like that's some sort of bribery. He told Georgians those checks will never get there if Perdue and Loeffler, the two Republican incumbents, were to win. And then they talk about how they're basically running against Warnock and Ossoff and when the polls close. But from the same event, this is from a different article, complex.com, but this actually has Joe Biden's full quote. If you send John and the Reverend to Washington, those $2,000 checks will go out the door. Remember that number, friends, $2,000. Restoring hope and decency and honor for so many people who are struggling right now, Biden told the crowd outside Georgia State University. And if you send Perdue and Loeffler back to Washington, those checks will never get there. It's just that simple. The power's literally in your hands. Friends, it's in your hands. All you got to do is pull that lever for blue and you will get paid $2,000. But if you can't muster the courage to vote blue no matter who, we will never pay you those $2,000. That sounds like you're paying somebody for their vote. That does not sound very ethical. I would just love for somebody to look into that, because to me, that just doesn't sound right. So this is from January 19th, 2021, Cameron LeBlanc, Yahoo Life. $1,400 stimulus could arrive as early as February, but bet on April. What are you talking about? I was promised $2,000. Why are they saying $1,400? If someone tells me that they're going to pay me $20, if they're going to pay me the $20 that they owe me because I gave them a $20 loan, I don't expect a $6 payment and then a $14 payment. I expect a $20 payment, friends. And worse off, I don't expect $6 from person A and $14 from person B. I expect whoever promised me that $20 to pay me back my $20, because that's what it is, friends. It is your tax dollars. You paid that money into the government, and the government is just refunding you that money to help you out, to help keep you afloat. People don't realize that. The government isn't just writing a check. They're just paying you back for something that you loaned them throughout the year. The economic stimulus check section of the $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief plan Joe Biden unveiled last week was, in a word, disappointing for many Americans who had expected something a bit more. After promising $2,000 checks to eligible Americans, the soon to be president revealed that no, actually, they'd just be getting $1,400 checks to supplement the $600 checks that were passed as part of the stopgap spending bill at the end of 2020. Setting this unfortunate bit of creative addition aside, the question becomes when exactly the undersized? And even Yahoo points out that it's undersized because you were promised more money and then you're getting less. So just remember that. You were lied to. You were lied for your vote. You were lied to get your vote. And then after you voted for them, they said, oh, just kidding. We actually weren't ever intending to pay you that much money. But still desperately needed payments will actually go out alongside the trillions of dollars in aid, vaccine funding, and more that will help Americans overcome the pandemic. The news on that front is also disappointing, although not unexpected, as his package is just a legislative idea rather than an introduced bill. So he's coming in as the president unprepared. He doesn't have a bill ready because he was a senator for longer than a lot of people have been alive. He could possibly have a bill drafted up and just submit that to the Senate or to the House. I believe it's to the House first when it comes to things involving money, and basically say, hey, here's a template, here's a roadmap, and make your changes from here. And that would have been fantastic. But right now it's just an idea. It's not even an introduced bill. It's bananas. Unsurprisingly, it looks like it will be months before anything passes. When will you get your $1,400 stimulus check? The likely best case scenario, so best case scenario, friends, is that Congress passes a bill by mid-February and money hits bank accounts before the end of the month. More likely is that a package is passed by the end of March and checks go out in early April. So I was told immediately, I was going to get a $2,000 check in the mail as soon as they were to get inaugurated. But no, friends, we are getting less money months from now. I don't need money 3 months from now. I probably need money today. So why the delay? And then here's where they shift the blame. Republicans are likely to push back on the relief package, lowering its price tag from nearly $2 trillion to $1 to $1.5 trillion, Hunter Hammond told CBS News, even though additional payments are widely supported and not expected to be a point of contention in negotiations. Haggling over other aspects of the bill will likely last a while, and Congress isn't exactly known for working expeditiously, even when the health of the economy is at stake. And then they talk about the filibuster and they talk about budget reconciliation as a last-ditch effort amongst the Democrats. So why is this important? So the first thing we should talk about real quick, we'll kind of gloss over on it, is if you were tracking the COVID relief package that was being kicked around Pelosi's desk in October and September, I believe September is before October, but I could be mistaken. It was a $2 trillion plan. Trump and Mnuchin did propose, I believe it was a $1.8 trillion package with $2,000. Maybe it wasn't $2,000 checks, but you could have pulled a $2,000 check out of that. But Pelosi kept kicking that can down the road. She kept pulling that football away from Charlie Brown before the election. And only after the election, she said, we have a new president-elect. Now we can find a way to get some stimulus to the American public. She only spiked that football for months, friends, and she settled for something $1 trillion less than was originally proposed by the president. So now, with a Democrat supermajority in the House, Senate, and President, you want a $2 trillion package, and you're going to have Republicans kind of stiff arm it and go, hey, no, because you already got $1 trillion. You don't need $2 trillion more. Let's just get $1 trillion and fill in that bill that was originally proposed back in October. That was the $1.8 trillion. We can just fund that bill up. We can pump money into that. We can build those programs. We can support the American people that way. We don't need to spend $3 trillion when the original plan was to spend $2. And I understand the logic behind that because you do not want to have the first thing you do as a government is to just start wildly printing money. The value of the dollar has already taken a hit with all the deficit spending that's been going on in the past year due to coronavirus. Something like 60% of all dollars in circulation were printed in the last year. Our debt to GDP ratio last year was 1.3 to 1. Again, that's not the Democrats' fault. It was coronavirus, it was Trump's spending. But guess what, friends? You can't keep a stable economy if you're just pressing zeros on a keyboard like magic and printing money to solve your problems. Because eventually, another company or another country, so imagine China or Russia, comes to the United States and says, "Hey, I hear you have this much money in circulation. What do you have to back that up?" The United States cannot manipulate its currency like China does. We would have to show how we back our currency, and there's no way for us to actually do that right now because we are literally spending more than we are earning as a nation. We are printing more money than we even make. So how are we supposed to keep the value of the dollar stable? Because all that's going to happen is inflation will kick in, and your gallon of milk is no longer going to cost $4. It is now going to cost $10. So even with a $15 minimum wage, it's still going to take you an hour. It's actually going to take you more than an hour to buy a gallon of gas and a gallon of milk. And people are not willing to they're not going to be ready to hear that when that happens. You will have some crazy stuff happen. I guarantee you that, friends. So before I take off, I'm going to show you a little piece of comedy gold. In case you haven't heard, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer had a Freudian slip today on the floor of the Senate. And so this comedic genius just melded these two videos together into just one of the most pure things, one of the most pure comedy experiences I've witnessed in a long time. So if you're listening on the podcast, you can still enjoy it through listening, but it's way better in video. So you can go to YouTube and check out the video. Here we go.
Donald John Trump incited the erection.
I love you too, but you're not my type.
That's hilarious. Every time I see it, I laugh because Trump's expression is just that stupid smirk and he's pointing at him, kind of laughing at him. You're not my type, man. I love you, but you're not my type. And that's kind of Trump's personality. And it actually, this is Chuck Schumer's personality to a T, and that's Trump's personality to a T. And I just feel like it just fit in perfectly. And when I saw it, I couldn't stop laughing. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Again, like, subscribe, donate. It would really help the show grow, expand, stay independent, stay honest. And if it happens that we end up being censored, you can still check out our content on notcensoredyet.com. I'm going to be backing up all these YouTube videos onto BitChute to help avoid that worst case scenario. So I'm going to keep researching for news topics, most likely then and now, because that theme seems to be the hot topic of the day. I believe it's just going to be the main theme of this administration. And see y'all later. Bye.